Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back with another brand new video, and I have the absolute privilege and joy to sit in front of you and talk about a win in league football. The win column has officially been ticked for the first time this season, and that's at least a happier topic to actually go ahead and discuss. But unfortunately, as is 2025 Rangers, there's also a bit of a serving of fear and sadness, and that is balanced out by the fact that we need to go ahead and talk about this win, and this game of football has probably just kept Russell Martin in his Rangers managerial position, and he will be subject to mere a vegan torture. And look, I know, we won the game of football. People said, oh no, here he goes, you can't moan at that, we've just had a 94th minute winner, do you not feel that adrenaline in your soul? Something, Cody. I get it, ladies and gentlemen, right? There is that excitement that does come with a 94th minute winner, and I think most people that tune into this channel, or at least watch me over the years, we score a 94th minute, the gear is off, you know what I mean? If you've got a big enough microscope, you might even see the 992s. That's how excited I get when this team goes ahead and wins games of football. However, there's just an ugliness and just a bit of a weight that's keeping the gear on and just keeping me doing a wee bit where, yes, I'm happy. Trust me, I'm happy we've won this game. But am I going to lose my mind and pretend that a corner's been turned and we're going to go on now and everything is all sunshines and rainbows? Unfortunately, I can't, ladies and gentlemen, as there's just too much ugliness to ignore. And for once right here on this channel, I'm actually not talking about ugliness on the park in terms of the performance, because I would dare to say about 30 minutes of that game was actually pretty not bad to actually watch a lot of good stuff in the first half before we ended up reverting back to type. But again, I've got a wee bit of conversation point I want to have regarding how well we played today, but I want to just park that air there right now because I want to talk about the sheer ugliness and the circus and the pandemonium that you almost feel with this football club right now. Again, going back, 94th minute goal, winning the game, 98 minutes, needing to drag yourself in there, getting that win. You will know what that will mean on a human level to Russell, Kenneth, Alexander Martin. He'll be dying to go out there and celebrate, right, despite what happened. But the manager can't. The manager that's just won the game pretty much with the last kick of the football can't go out there and clap the away fans and give the rah-rah, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, or we're going to do that. No, as soon as the full-time whistle goes, Rangers Football Club's manager has to go up the tunnel because the relationship between head coach and the fans is completely gone and broken, and it's never, ever getting fixed. And look, I don't know how you feel regarding the entire situation, and maybe it's me just being daft, but I sit and look at all this and I see it all so fractured, I see it so volatile, I see it all spinning out of control, and I just sit and glance at how on earth as a football team are we ever going to get back on track if there's so much division and there's a line drawn and it's almost becoming an us versus them motif. That's never ever going to bring you success at any level, never mind where we want to go as a football club. And for me, the division, this line in the sand's only getting deeper and deeper and deeper the longer these owners and the people in charge of our football club allow this situation to spiral and fester and spread and get worse. It's done. Ladies and gentlemen, we just scored a 94th minute goal and the first chant was to sack the manager. It's gone. Just hold your hands up and say we made a mistake. The guy we gave 7 interviews to, we interviewed him 7 times to Jedi mind trick and talk himself into a position that, if we're being honest, there's not an ounce of anything on his CV to suggest he should have even been given an interview, never mind given a position. They're going to allow their hubris, they're going to allow their pride, they're going to let their ego affect and split this fan base and this club right down the actual middle and break it more than previously it was under the board that we felt was failing us the last time. They're going to rip up every ounce of goodwill they got for taking air this club. For what? Russell Martin? He's never won none in his career, and again, from a human level, I wish it did work out for him, but just sit and look around, man. Look at the fires that's getting out of control. It's done. Just everybody be an adult in that building. Just come together and be like, listen, Martin, brilliant 3 points, delighted to get it, but we have to move on because the fans are gone, and when you lose the fans, that's it. And that's all I really want to say regarding the situation. Again, I could keep chasing my tail round and round regarding Russell Martin, but that's how I feel. I said it yesterday before the game. Win, lose or draw, I didn't believe in him, and now that I've seen what a win looks like in this league, I still didn't believe it. I wish it was different, I really, really did, but I just didn't see it, ladies and gentlemen. And why should we set fire to our entire season before we reach for a fire extinguisher and start putting things out? Why do we let the whole building burn down before we start to put out the fire? That's all I want to talk about. But moving away from there, because again, it's not all on Martin, because I want to talk about some of these players as well, for good reasons and for some bad. Now, the good players are usual names on the old list. I thought Jackie B was absolutely brilliant once again and made several big saves. Honestly, the question needs to be is, where would we be without Jack Butland? Rewind 4 or 5 months ago. Look where we were. Look where he was. The mental strength he's got to pull himself in. He showed me, son. You could dare say mental strength is certainly something you can throw at Max Aarons' name, I should say, for having that moment. Because the last time we seen him, he put us in a spot and put us in for the most humiliating game we've seen in a very long time. Then the very next time we see him, he steps up with a game winner and wins us our first league game of the season. Will we finally get to start seeing the real Max Aarons now? Will we finally get to see the real Max? Maybe, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I'm not fully convinced just yet, but clearly there is a player in there, and that might just unshackle him to start playing back to his best, or at least certainly I hope so. But in terms of individual performances who stepped out, I thought Raskin was very good. I thought Connor Barron was very good today, and I thought Gazima was the guy we really needed. And if you take that young kid out of this team, honestly, look around. What's there? Special mention, a wee special shout out to Jayden as well, by the way. I nearly forgot there. I thought he bounced back from his European disappointments to looking really good on the left hand side. And I do like Jayden and Gas. I do like that a lot. I just would like to see it permanently going forward. But again, Jayden's only here for a couple months, and we didn't have any other left back. But those were the ones that I thought, yeah, showed a wee bit of something. The rest, man, I'm sitting looting, and big fan of Big Bojan, but he's got to bury that. You know what I mean? I know he's a striker, he's low in confidence because he's barely getting a sniff at the ball, but there was a big chance for the big man. But again, he's still put effort in, he worked. I'm looking at the likes of Asgard. I'm just not seeing it now, you know what I mean? He's bringing a hell of a lot less than what Todd Cantwell ever did for his football club. You would dare say Tom Lawrence would beat him in a race now, and that's not a statistic or a stat you would ever want to say there. I'm just looking around and being like, is there enough in this Rangers team, despite what's in the dugout right now, to actually be able to grab a game by the scruff of the neck? Is there enough game winners in there? For me, there's no a lot of them, ladies and gentlemen, but thankfully we had enough in this game, in this situation, and in this environment to just get the 3 points. But it's fair to say we need drastic improvements when you look at this Rangers team. And again, centre back still one for me, but if you stay for the game recap, you'll hear me break that down. But again, we mentioned earlier on in the video that it was a better-ish performance, especially in the first half, as I thought we created some things, we got forward. Again, we should have put the game to bed. It should have been 3-0 after 30 minutes. It was almost a throwback to under Clement and under Beale and under Gio. We created chances but missed them. The majority of Martin's time so far has been creating nothing and missing them. You get my old drift? But I do find it very interesting when people say and talk up how well we played in this game, when you have to put into context the way we were allowed to play well. Stay with me for a minute. Right, let's go to about the 77th minute of the game of football. It's 1-1 in the game of football. Davy Martindale reaches to the bench and brings on a couple subs. Now again, if this was any other season, what does David Martindale's Livingston side do when there's about 12-13 minutes left of a game versus the Old Firm? That's right, he brings on defenders, CDMs, he plugs it, he takes off the attackers, he battens down the hatches because he knows we're going to get wide, we're going to put balls in the box, we're going to have shots for range, we're going to salt and pepper the goal and keep on attacking non-stop. So they're there to hang on for dear life, but that didn't happen. The day is Davy Martindale went ahead and brought on several attack-minded players, including a striker, a winger, attack-minded midfielder, whatever you want to say. He reached into the bag of tricks and put the fit down versus Rangers. And we talk about a game, again, a 94th minute goal to beat Livingston. That could have happened in previous years, absolutely. And if you missed the game out, you go, oh, typical Livingston, now they're scored for a set piece or something. dug in deep, parked the bus and hanged on for dear life, so Rangers had to keep plugging away. But that's really, really disingenuous to this entire game and disingenuous to Livingston, because they never parked nothing. They never played in a low block. They never piled the middle of the park. They never tried to play anti-football, if you will. Livingston, for the very first minute of this game of football, piled forward, committed men forward, and showed a complete lack of respect, but more importantly, a lack of fear versus Rangers that is really, really, ironically scary to me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm seeing a Livingston team lick their lips and fancy their chances versus Rangers. Hello, is anybody paying attention in Rangers Football Club? There is nothing about this team and under this manager that strikes fear. And even David Martindale's Livingston, they created several opportunities. Again, we missed ours, but Jackie B was massive for us as well to stop them for scoring, because they had 1v1, they had two 1v1s, they had a fantastic save shot, they had other opportunities, and that's all because they're going freaking forward. And I think that allowed us to create more, and that gets in behind them, because they were pummeling men, so many men forward. It just looked like two teams at the bottom of the table just battling. And again, I know statistically that's what it is, but it shouldn't be that way, and it's a real worry to me, ladies and gentlemen, that the complete lack of respect and fear that's from the rest of this league. In a season that's already saw the likes of the Dundee captain stand after a game of football and be asked about the fear factor about coming to Ibrox, and he said, what fear factor? Or he never feared coming to Ibrox. To then see a Martindale side no even part the bus once in the game, even with 10 minutes to go, they still went forward. They still tried to put Rangers under pressure, as the biggest glaring warning lights, beep, 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 that we are in real trouble. And again, I can't help but repeat a line I said versus Genk. If we're playing against a better opposition, we might have conceded a lot more goals, but thankfully they were slightly off it and were against the likes of Stevie May up front. And again, Jackie B was back to his brilliant best as he has been all season and made the big saves that gave us the platform to go ahead and win the game of football. So I'm not sure how this video is going to be received. I'm a wee bit nervous, if I'm being brutally honest with you. I feel like you're probably going to be shouting at me, because I should be a hell of a lot happier, but honestly I feel like we want to watch today, you know what I mean? I really feel we stole that. And again, seeing the lack of respect a team like Livingston has for us these days is shocking to me. It really is. But let's go ahead and get into the game of football. There was a couple changes as expected coming in from the midweek, but again, it was the majority of the same, as the defence remained the exact same. The only real changes that was Mikey Moore was finally withdrawn from it, and obviously our boy Ant-Man went ahead and played. And the other change in the game of football was a change I thought we'd make midweek, if I'm honest with you, just with the midfield balance, but that was Connor Barron coming in for Diomande, who's been almost posted missing as much as Barami was last year. But that was the change, that was the team. And going into the game of football, I thought, right, we've just been beat again in European football. There's still that naive part in my brain that somehow thinks this is going to click and we're going to start battering teams and we're going to start dominating games. But the first 5 minutes a game of football after getting beat midweek in Europe saw us limp into a game and concede a 1v1 chance versus Livingston that Stevie May forces Jack Butland into a phenomenal save. Or we're 1-0 down behind 3 minutes in the game. Why are we so lifeless and slow to start these matches? A couple crosses then had to be thankfully defended from the two centre halves, and then there was one where Smith, I believe, cuts inside and tries to curl one, and it goes just a whisker wide. But you're talking about 6 minutes on the clock. They've had one shot on target, they've had one whistling by the bread basket, and they've put several crosses into the box, and I'm sitting going, what is actually, why are we getting battered 10 minutes into the game versus Livingston? And then it was almost like the penny dropped that we went, oh wait a minute, we're actually Rangers Football Club, we actually get paid a lot of money, we're actually no bad as individual players. Then we started to just pass the football and create opportunities, and it just started to make things happen. Again, Gazima was a big part of this. I feel like, you may have ever seen that movie Kicking and Screaming with Will Ferrell? Remember the whole motif is pass it to the Italians? Yeah, we've got that motif. That's who we've got as a manager, but instead of passing it to the Italians written on the old whiteboard, we've got pass it to the gas man and hope that the guy goes ahead and cooks. And the majority of the game, he threatened to, as he had a couple mazy runs into the box. One of them he tries to have a shot that's ended up blocking. Another he chucks in an interesting cross that almost gets to Big Bojan. But then, as we start to wrestle the momentum from Livingston's fast start back in our favour, we create the moment of the match so far, and where we should burst the back of net. It's a brilliant ball into Raskin. I believe it was one of the centre. It might have been Suter, actually. Suter into Raskin. Raskin, wee delicate flick over the defensive line. I'm saying Big Bojan. I've seen him score this chance versus us. This is what God, big. How's he ballooned that? The bar, and it's painful to watch. And again, I expect a hell of a lot better for that man, but again, you could make the argument that he's been starved of service so far. So it's not as if he's had many shooting opportunities, but I'm expecting my centre forward to score that goal, and I'm disappointed the big man ballooned the air. From there, you saw a massive drop off again as Stevie May once again went close as he tried to run beyond Tavernier, tried to put in a dangerous cross. No much came for it, but again, it's so easy, man. It's like cutting through butter, one pass. And again, what I was noticing is how forward they were meeting us at the halfway line. Please do not let that be overstated in today's video. Livingston Football Club met us at the half freaking way line. It's scary, troops. But after 10 minutes of nothingness and slow, ponderous football for us, and the fans letting that be known with the songs they were singing about Martin, the Gasman sparks into gear again. Jaden to Gasman. Gasman actually hits a cross that is overhit. But Ant-Man sprinting into the box. Brilliant touch. Volleys it back into Tavernier, and James Henry hits an overhead kick. Now again, it's the slowest oldest overhead kick you've ever seen, but it's brilliant for the skip dog, you know what I mean? Gasman to the Ant-Man to Mr. James Henry. It was a brilliant goal, and it's the first time I've seen Ant-Man at the byline hitting a cross-in all season long, and unfortunately he wasn't allowed to for the rest of the game, as weirdly he's got to funnel in so Tavernier can go in the overlap, and then even when Tav goes in the overlap, he's still inside. Let the guy that gets the assist for the byline run to the byline. But brilliant goal for Rangers, and it did make me smile again seeing Big James Henry. And then within a couple minutes later, ladies and gentlemen, we have a penalty kick. Tavernier whips in a ball. Raskin's getting pulled from Big Silla, I believe it is. Pulls him right to the deck. Again, it is a penalty with the letter of the law these days, especially some of the penalties we've conceded in the last 12 months. And up steps the skipper, sorry, and I'm stumbling in my words because I was smiling at. I'm going back to the moment before he took the penalty, and I'll be like, I'm going to get to talk about a game of football in 2025 that James Henry's on a hat-trick after 30 minutes. And again, I'm still, despite my frustrations and despite how much of a wall I've tried to build around my heart, James Henry, he's been here 10 years, he's built so that, you know, I was always a fanboy, so I'm smiling, and he hits it down the middle and misses it, and I just have to painfully sit back and say, that 5-minute spell where Tav scored an overhead kick, then missed a penalty to wrap the game up, is the perfect summary of James Henry Tavernier in Big 25. And it's heartbreaking. It's just a poor penalty. He's hit it down the middle, you know what I mean? Pick a corner and bury the spot. Believe in yourself. But he's been really hit and miss if you look at his last 5 or 6 penalty kicks. And maybe time to maybe give somebody else a shot there, because the misses are creeping up and up and up now. That's all I'll say about that one. But that did take a bit of the stuffing out of the game, where we had the potential to wrap it up there, and then Livingston obviously get a bit conscious of that. Their goalie's made a couple other decent saves as well throughout the match. He's feeling good about his game, and then it starts to build and flutters back to Livingston, creating a couple opportunities, or having a long shot here, having a long shot there, and mere nothingness happens in the game until we edge closer and closer to the end of the first half, where again, Raskin to Gasman. You know what I mean? Surprise, surprise. He then pulls it back, and Connor Barron on the run does everything right. The guy hits it on target, it keeps it low, but the goalie, again, who was on inspired form for these certain bits of the old game, makes it look a lot easier than it probably was. We're ramping up as we get closer and closer to the end. Again, Livingston are giving us plenty of opportunities to counter. They're giving us plenty of spaces to run into, and we're starting to exploit it. We're starting to feed on it. It's no the low block. We're no stumbling and being lost with the middle. We're playing direct. We're winning us another set piece, and when we then put it up into the mixer, it drops to Cornelius at the back post, volleys brilliantly, but all the hands are going up. I'm like, surely he's not offside. Is he offside there? But then it's given as a handball, ladies and gentlemen, and obviously it's frustrating because it looks like the ball kind of hits him perfectly in between the shot line and the arm. I don't know the official rule anymore. I thought I knew the rule. Then I seen Lauren Shanklin look like LeBron James at Ibrox, bring one down and dribble halfway down the park before putting the ball into the back of net. And then I seen Martin Boyle, whose hands was down here, somehow be given as a handball. And then I've seen this one where Cornelius is literally making his body smaller and it hits him halfway on there, get chopped out. So I have no idea what the handball rule is. All I do know is it was ruled out. But again, the majority of it is the best I've seen us play for large parts. Again, Livingston were giving us space to run into, but let me take my wins when I get it. Right, there was some exciting things to see, at least in the first half. I thought, alright, let's see what the second half's going. You know how this goes, second half dropped off like a cliff. Man, it's frustrating, man. Soapy nearly gives a penalty away as he gets caught with one long ball behind him. You know what I mean? He ends up barging in the back. He's Stevie May, you know what I mean? I think there's just, Stevie May's went down, or he started to go down a bit too early, or that could have been an uncomfortable conversation as he's just beat again by one long ball, and then we started to give chances again to Stevie May. This time he's on the left hand side, opens his body up, rattles one. He couldn't hit it. He cannot, Stevie May in 2025 cannot hit that ball any better than that. But I'm very, very thankful that we've got Jackie B back to his best, as it's a ridiculous save and no one's talking about brilliant. Not only does he save it, but he gets it out the way, because he had that weird spell where he was saving things but he was sort of smashing it all into the middle of the goal, but he gets rid of it. It's just, thankfully he's back to his best, because honestly we'd probably be bottom without him. But that warning sign was completely ignored by Rangers, and again Livingston were in the ascendancy. Livingston were created the opportunities, and then you're talking about 15-20 minutes into a second half, we've not had a second shot. Why do we go back to playing with the handbrake? It was like Martin went, right boys, that was a good first half, let's get back to doing what we do. In the second we revert back to Russell Martin football, the second we jump back and regress miles into a football team, and Livingston are all errors. Troops, 20 minutes of that second half, absolutely all over us. And we'd have conceded 5 minutes prior to us then, by the way, if it wasn't for Cornelius. Then a phenomenal, remember what Henyon done to us versus Genk, where he done that sort of overhead kick clearance? Well, it's not quite on the line, but I believe Stevie May's at the back post ready for a free header if he doesn't get there. So I was like, oh, what defending for him. And then we end up conceding the most Rangers way we concede these days. It's a ball into the box and John Souttar is just standing there letting yet another free man this season header a ball, and it's the one man that you have to mark. It's Silla. We talked about it again yesterday. How many times has this man scored for a free header, or played versus us, or hit the bar, or created opportunities versus us? How many times does this man need to win a free header before Soapy puts his arm out and jumps up and challenges this man? Well, he finally ran out of luck as Silla bursts the back in it, and then it's 1-1, and there's none. You can't argue. They're no part in the bus and hit us on a set piece, or it was a long throw, or the Cota's call. They're just beating us. They're honestly beating us 20 minutes into that second half, and there's none you can argue. We are forced into making a couple changes here as Cornelius goes down, the likes of Max Aarons comes in, you have a couple other substitutions that starts happening in the game of football, and again Livingston are fancying it and are looking at that Rangers team. There's nothing to fear in this Rangers team. They had all the momentum in the world. I think at one point they had 4 shots on target, or 6 overall shots, and we hadn't mustered a shot in the second half, close to the 80th minute in the game of football. Speaking of the 80th minute, they could have scored a second goal, and if McLennan doesn't end up getting very, very greedy here, they're actually wide open again as we give the ball away stupidly, unfortunately, by James Henry. Gives the ball away, gives them the opportunity, but McLennan goes for a whirl. They try to chip it and curl it into the corner rather than playing to the man that's completely wide open. Or we could have been stung, but again, it wouldn't have been against anything in the game. It'd have been what Livingston went ahead and deserved. But then you reach that nippy bum time, you know what I mean? Then you reach who can go ahead and win this game, and Rangers started to flutter a little bit with some chances. They started to flutter a little bit with a couple crosses into the box, and then we end up winning a couple set pieces in the end of the game. One of them, Bojan, ends up hitting a brilliant header on target again, phenomenally saved by this goalie, as I thought Bojan does everything right, getting that header on target, and it was at that, around about the 92nd minute, I says, well, goalie's had a world of there, you know what I mean, it's just sickening, you know what I mean, it's another opportunity flung away by this football club, and I'm scared to see what the reaction is going to be when this full-time whistle goes, and my head's almost like down here, troops, then we whip in across, then it goes and falls, I think Raskin headers it on actually, and Max Aarons, old folk, is there to smash it into the back of it with a brilliantly finished volley that wouldn't even stop this goalie on this form being able to go ahead and get that. Brilliant for there, and again it just makes me laugh that the one player that's there to win the header again is Raskin, flicks it on, and our boy goes ahead and tucks it away, and we end up getting the winning goal up at that point. Again, the chants were what they were. There's standards that need to be had. This relationship needs to be amended, but it's a massive, massive win. We were able to see out the rest of the game of football, and for me, it shouldn't be a point where a manager's getting beat every week and everything, knocked out every cup, and you're rock bottom, and then this, and then, it shouldn't be that. See if it's just not going to work out, and see if you see it and know working out. Why do you need to get knocked out of everything and be tanked out of everything before you make the decision? You can see it's not working. You know what I mean? It's like being in a bad relationship. You're not really talking anyway, just sitting on your phones. And that's what we are. That's what Rangers Football Club is. Rangers fan base, with Russell Martin. That's what we are. We're just in a bad relationship towards the end, and we're just not even talking. We're just going to drag you out for a couple of months and make it very, very awkward for both of us. Let's just pull it at the strings there. Let's just rip the band-aid off and make the decision that still needs to be made despite the fantastic win and despite the fact that I'm going to go to my bed happier today. Absolutely. But overall for our season, does it change or move a metric in any department? Nah. But we got the win. Let's not just throw everything away until we make the decision. Right, that's it. That's my thoughts and opinions on the game of football. It was ugly as most games are at the Tony Macaroni, but again, the lack of respect and the lack of fear from Livingston and how they set up, played and went about their business is just too mad for me to ignore as a Rangers fan. But that's my thoughts and opinions on the game. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the comment section below. And again, feel free to shout me if you felt I have been too negative. But again, I'm trying to stress I am happy, but I'm not going to be blinded by this win. We're going to get the odd win under Martin, but this football club isn't built on the odd win and getting embarrassed. Odd win and getting embarrassed. That's not what it's supposed to be, so I just want to see us getting back to that type of level. But as I do go ahead and wrap up today's video, a wee special mention to every single person that's currently watching today's video, as we've now reached over 68,000 subscribers, and I'm glad we get to do it in terms of a win. I'm delighted that I get to say thank you for those that are currently still watching at this point for helping this channel reach 68,000 subscribers. Again, this isn't me, it's a we type scenario, and it blows my mind that the numbers we continue to reach, and again, we're getting scarily close to 70,000 subscribers, and aye, thank you for that. But again, I've took up too much of your night already. Shout out the legends that are signed up to the channel legend memberships. Again, we greatly appreciate you, as we do those that are currently signed up to the supporter range as well, helping to directly support the channel, which is far too kind. And to every single person that's also subscribing and watching these videos and hitting the like buttons, letting your comments, you're subscribing and you're helping this channel that way as well. So again, everybody, man, it's incredible. It's a great community here, and honestly I love doing it. Again, it'd be great if I could talk about more happier things and celebrate more ways, but win, lose or draw, we're always here, and that's no lost on me either. So from me to the thanks for everything, and I'll see you in the next video, ladies and gentlemen. I've been CJ992. Thank you so much for watching, and bye bye.